Welcome to Forbidden Planet TV. I'm Andrew Sumner, and I have with me the one, the only, the returning guest, Mark Waid. How you doing, mate?
I'm all right, sir.
It's very nice to see you, and very nice to see you in these specific circumstances, because we're here to talk about your new DC book, which I'm very excited about, Batman versus Robin. So
Thank you.
I suspect the concept, the title tells us all a lot about the concept, but I,
Yeah,
I would love to hear more about the detail directly from you, mate.
sure. There's more to it than that. Although that is certainly the high concept. We've it was pitched originally as just a 4-issue, 22-page per book, thing about a year and a half ago. I pitched it, but because it seems to organically just tie into a lot of the other things that's happening at DC in 2022. It just sort of grew and grew, which I'm quite happy with. And again, the situation we put Batman in is that his son Damian, the current Robin, um, has been possessed by something or someone, and readers of World's Finest will know exactly what that is. And is after Batman, is out to kill Batman. And the unique situation that Batman is in is that even more so than Dick Grayson or Tim Drake or Jason or any of these other Robins, Damian knows every inch of the Batcave. He knows every tool in Batman's arsenal. He knows every fighting style that Batman knows. He knows everything. So Batman has no advantage. So Batman is cut off from all of his resources, and he has to find some new way of coming at Damien that he's never come with before. And it turns out that magic, at the same time, something's happening in the magic realm at DC, in the DC universe. And so Batman uses that as an entryway into the world of sorcery, which I'm not saying he's casting spells and stuff, but it's taking him on a journey through that world that hopefully will give him some advantage over Damien.
I mean, it's such a an intriguing concept, particularly given who Batman is and given the history of the character and his history of interaction with wizardry and mysticism within sorcery within the DC universe.
Right. I mean, he's interacted with that stuff plenty, but at bottom line, he's still never comfortable there.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And it must be a joy to place a Bruce Wayne into that specific place.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. I mean, I love fish out of water stories. And, my favorite thing to do with the DC characters is put them in places you've never seen them before.
Wonderful, mate. And who'd you have on the art on the book?
Oh, Mahmud Asrar is doing the art. It's beautiful. Jordie Bellaire is doing the colors. It's a phenomenal looking book. And those who've seen it in advanced copies and so forth have given us a very good, very rousing thumbs up. So I think it looks really beautiful.
Mark, how does it feel to have had this kind of glowing golden return, if you will, to one of the top, the top for some DC characters? Certainly, a character that means a lot to you. I know you're the ultimate Superman fan, but also, you've got such a great history with Batman. But to have your work received in this era, in this contemporary era, how does that feel?
It's phenomenal. I'm very grateful for it because again, it's not only have I been away from DC for a while, but I've been doing this for over 30 years. And the idea that I can still, hit a solid triple every once in a while or have, not fade away. And,
Yeah.
I'm very, very lucky there and very happy about it. I mean, I wrote this big Facebook post about it the other day, not specifically about me, but on Facebook, basically talking about, and again, exempting me, but talking about what I think separates the creators who've been doing this for a long time, who continue to get work versus the ones who sort of fade away. And I think, at heart, a big part of it that I will include myself in is that one of the commonalities is a joy in comics, a willingness to, seek out what are considered the new and best and greatest comics of that moment in time and dive into them and look for things that inspire you and look for things that tools that you can use in your own storytelling, adapt and grow and push yourself. And most of all, I think, be willing to add to that which you have to say or how you go about saying it. I mean, not, adapt what you have to say, add to it so you're not saying the same things over and over again as a writer. I think that those are important commonalities, and I think that some of them apply to me. I think that I certainly, the stuff about looking for new material, being inspired by new material rather than kids today, or comics are crap today, like they weren't, they were better when I was. That's just baloney,
Yeah. I am so glad that you brought this up, because I was going to ask you about it, because I read this Facebook post, which anybody checking out this conversation between myself and Mark, I would urge you to go and read. It's, for me, it's a very well executed treatise on the power of open-mindedness and positivity. I would say those are two of the big linchpins of it, and of course I think that's something that's very important for comic book creators, AAA list comic creators like yourself. It's very important for comic book fans as well, because I'm a man of a certain age, and I was in our core store in Forbidden Planet in London, in Shaftesbury Avenue, the other day, and we're just about to do a regular kind of weekly reviews roundup, and I was talking to the guys in the store, and without noticing, I guess about 90 minutes had flown past as we were all feverishly going through our favorite comics of the moment, right? But I know people who I've known all my fandom life, for 30 years, who do not have that view about contemporary comic books. And indeed, I mean, you and I talked recently about that glorious Captain Action collection, which is wonderful, right?
Yes,
and I love that. I absolutely love it. And I love the work that Ed Cato and the guys have done on that book. It's fantastic. Absolutely love it. It's one of my favorite things to be published this year. But I also love a whole ton of new stuff that's coming out, and I think you've got to keep your interests tuned to what's happening in society. You've got to embrace the changes that are around us, and the differences in society. I mean, that surely is what makes life interesting, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, why would you want to indulge in a hobby that makes you miserable?
Yeah.
Why would you want to spend time in a world where all you can do is complain about how bad it is?
Yeah. I mean, that there's no joy in that life, right? There's no joy in that life.
No.
And I guess the analogy would be, it would be like sitting around in 1969 and being a big Steve McQueen fan, and writing off Humphrey Bogart, and watching,
Yes.
laughing and writing off the Marx Brothers. Why would you do that? And it
It's-
makes no sense.
It really doesn't. I mean, and this is not, when I say this, and you say this is not an automatic defense of everything that the big publishers publish.
Of course.
It's not even a comment on what specific publishers publish.
Yeah.
There have been times when there have been more good DC comics than there are now, or more good Marvel comics, or fewer good Marvel comics. But you can't just stop there. I mean, if you want to look for great comics, you look at what Abrams books are doing, Ahoy Comics, you look at Aftershock, you look at Image, you look at so many different places. Literally hundreds, if not thousands, of comics come out every month. And there's stuff out there for everybody if you want to look, and not just keep yourself focused on the same comics you've been reading for 40 years.
Yeah. I really couldn't agree more. And I think one of the perhaps it seems to me like it's a lesson from a certain era in the movie industry, but that might just be a construct in my head. One of the things I've been enjoying in recent years is you get guys who become big names working, for the big two publishers, but they at the same time are producing their own personal projects, really interesting stuff. So you get guys like Declan Shalvey, you get guys like Chip Zdarsky. They're doing this great stuff for the big two, and they're doing this great stuff around the periphery as well, and it's all happening at the same time. I think that's a beautiful situation to be in. It
really is a golden age. It's just that you wouldn't know, like for television in the States, you wouldn't know it's the golden age of television if all you watched were the three big broadcast channels and nothing else.
Wow. Yeah.
That's the analogy to me.
Yeah. I think that's very sensible. And mate, I could talk to you about this for hours, and therefore won't. I will park this on. What I've read of Batman versus Robin has me very excited. Thank you for coming and talking to us about it.
Of
The
course.
book is available for pre-order from the links attached to this conversation, and I just can't wait to get into it, mate.
I'm very glad. I'm glad you're happy with it. I'm very happy with it.
It's always lovely to see you, Mark. You take care of yourself.
You bet.
If you're enjoying watching Forbidden Planet TV and you're enjoying watching us talk to the world's most interesting and accomplished filmmakers, authors, artists, musicians, creators, subscribe right here. See you soon.